Have you ever paused mid-movie to wonder, why does popcorn pop? Out of all the grains and seeds we eat, popcorn is the only one that explodes into a fluffy white treat. What makes it so special? Today, we're diving into the delicious science behind one of the world's most iconic snacks. What is popcorn really? Popcorn is a type of corn, specifically Zea maize averta, a unique variety of maize with a very hard outer shell and a starchy interior. Not all corn kernels can pop. Only this specific type has the right combination of traits to create that satisfying explosion. The anatomy of a popcorn kernel. Each kernel has three key parts: a pericarp, hard outer shell, a starchy endosperm, and a small amount of moisture inside. That moisture is the secret ingredient. Without it, popcorn wouldn't pop. The role of heat. As popcorn is heated, whether in a pan, air popper, or microwave, the moisture inside turns to steam. Since the kernel is sealed by that hard shell, pressure starts to build up inside like a mini pressure cooker. The pressure builds at around 180 degrees or 356 degrees. The pressure reaches a breaking point, around 135 psi. That's more pressure than a car tire. The shell finally gives way, and the explosion is so powerful that the kernel flips inside out, puffing up into the fluffy white structure we recognize as popcorn. Why only popcorn pops? Other corn varieties either don't have enough moisture or their shells aren't strong enough to contain the pressure. They crack or burn, but they don't pop. Popcorn's shell is both moisture-retaining and pressure-resistant, making it one of nature's rare, edible pressure bombs. What's that white fluff? The fluffy part you eat is gelatinized starch. When the kernel explodes, the superheated starch expands and cools rapidly, forming an airy foam. That's what gives popcorn its soft texture and unique crunch. Can popcorn go stale? Absolutely. Once a popcorn kernel loses too much internal moisture, either from age or exposure to air, it won't pop properly. That's why stale popcorn kernels stay hard or only partially pop. Why some kernels don't pop? We call them old maids, those stubborn kernels at the bottom of the bowl. Usually, they didn't contain enough moisture or had a cracked shell that allowed steam to escape before pressure could build. Microwave magic, microwave popcorn, is designed to optimize the popping process. The bags have special coatings to absorb and reflect microwave energy evenly, and the kernels are pre-treated with oil and seasoning to enhance performance and taste. Air-popped versus oil-popped. Air popping uses dry heat, great for low-calorie snacking. Oil popping adds flavor and raises the temperature more evenly. Either way, as long as the internal pressure builds, you'll get a pop. Is popcorn healthy? Plain popcorn is actually high in fiber and low in calories. It's the butter, oil, and sugar that add the bulk. But from a scientific standpoint, it's a whole grain and a naturally gluten-free snack. History of popped corn. Popcorn isn't new. Native Americans were popping corn thousands of years ago. Some archaeological evidence suggests popcorn was eaten as early as 3600 BCE in Mexico. It was used in ceremonies and even as jewelry. The popcorn boom. Popcorn became wildly popular in the US during the Great Depression. It was cheap, fun, and accessible. During World War II, when candy was rationed, popcorn sales tripled. Then came movie theaters, and the rest is buttery history. Why does popcorn smell so good? When the starch and proteins in popcorn cook under heat, they undergo the Maillard reaction, a chemical process that produces hundreds of aroma compounds. That mouth-watering smell? It's pure food chemistry in action. Popcorn and pressure, a physics lesson. Popcorn is a great example of thermodynamics. You're seeing water turn into steam, pressure build in a confined space, and an instantaneous release of energy that completely changes the kernel's structure. It's science in your snack. Can you repop unpopped kernels? Sometimes. If they haven't burned and still contain moisture, reheating them might work. But often, old maids are just duds due to structural flaws. Colored popcorn. Same science. Ever seen red, blue, or black popcorn kernels? These are heirloom varieties. They have different pigments, but they pop just like yellow or white corn. The science behind their explosion stays the same. Why does popcorn jump? During the explosion, not only does the kernel flip inside out, it sometimes leaps into the air from the force. That's why popcorn can bounce out of pans or machines during popping. Can you pop other grains? Yes, but not the same way. Quinoa, sorghum, and amaranth can pop, but they puff, not explode. Popcorn's hard shell and moisture content give it that dramatic burst effect other grains lack. Final fun fact. The world record for the largest popcorn ball? Over 12 feet tall and 9,370 pounds. It's proof that popcorn is more than a snack. It's a cultural icon with a fascinating science behind every bite. Next time you hear that familiar pop, 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 you'll know exactly what's going on inside each tiny kernel. If you learned something new, drop a comment. Air-popped or butter-loaded, how do you like your popcorn? Until next time, stay curious and snack smart.